What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Now, I made a post yesterday talking about Steve Young being like the apex level of what Tua could be. Mostly because he's left handed, he's had concussions, but he overcame that, won a Super Bowl, Hall of Famer, all that. Immediately after I dropped that, I thought Jim just gave it to the world. Teron Armstead, the hater that he is on Dolphins Daily, joking, big fan of Teron here, jumps out and talks about him comparing Tua to Drew Brees. Now, you remember, we got Teron from the Saints, so he played with Drew Brees. This is not just a guy that played football and, yeah, you look about the same physically. He played with Drew Brees. Block for him, right? So he understands Drew Brees from a guy, I'm on your team perspective, but also the mentality of the quarterback. The O-line and the quarterback are like this. We all know that. So when he jumps out and says, I think Tua is more comparable to Drew Brees than anybody else, it's got a little bit more weight to me. I didn't play foot offensive line for anybody. I didn't play quarterback. I still think my comparison is more accurate because Steve Young is left-handed. Let me just, in all, arrogance, what have you. But I totally understand what Teron said. I'll tell you exactly how he broke it down. He said, I wholeheartedly believe in Tua. I've seen him snap into a mode that looked familiar to me from Drew Brees. That's why I have no problem making a comparison. The consistency of that, him snapping into that assassin mode, sniper mode, that's the championship DNA. That's what we want to see more consistently. We believe he can do it. The best way I could describe Drew Brees when he played was surgical. That's the best way I can describe it. It looked like three-step, look, up hooked, boom. Like it was everything he did would look like it was doom, 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 bang, doom, 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 boom. I can remember, you can go through his highlights. I'm sure Drew Brees had a lot of throws over like 45 to 50 yards. I don't remember a lot of like 60, 65-yard throws from Drew Brees in his whole career. From the Chargers through the Saints. It was, if the first down is at 7 yards, that pass is going 7.5, 8. Perfect location, get down. Him just bing, 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 all the way down the field. Actually, I think Drew Brees most accurately, the way he drove the ball is how Tom Brady did a lot of times. Tom Brady was a just enough merchant, but Tom Brady actually had like a legitimately big arm and could air it out, especially when he had like Randy Moss and big time receivers. Drew Brees, I never felt had the strongest arm in the world. Still second round pick, top of the second, right? And he was great at Purdue. So Drew Brees, I think, maximized what his height, what his arm strength, because he had it all here. Drew would see the play. Very rarely did I see Drew just like get terribly like read the play wrong. He would just read the play, boom, 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 boom. Didn't hear a lot of people saying Drew Brees couldn't win. Maybe they did, right? The internet was a little more quiet when he first played. As soon as Tua got drafted, what do we all hear? Oh no, noodle arm. You got to have a big, super strong arm to win. And I'm thinking, I don't think you do. I think you probably need a good offensive mind. I think you need to know where to go with the ball. And I think you need to be accurate at passing. I think being accurate at passing the ball is more important than being able to throw a ball 80 yards. Hot take. Hot take. Hey, accuracy at the quarterback position is more important than I can throw it 60 yards from my knees. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but every draft, oh man, this guy's got rocket arm. I'm like, really? That guy's completion percentage is 51%. Yeah, but if he puts it all together, it's like, well, what about this guy who consistently makes the throws at the right place and doesn't throw his receivers across the middle with grenade balls and just is consistently throwing the ball where, well, I mean, he can't really fit the ball into the tight windows. Okay. Yes, I understand if you had a quarterback with the arm, with the accuracy, that you get a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen type. We all get that. But more often than not, if quarterbacks were just accurate at passing the ball, they will be fine. There's not a quarterback in the league that can't throw the ball 50 yards in the air. Not a single one. No matter how noodle arm you think somebody is, they all can throw at least 50 yards. There are very few routes that are more than 50 yards in the air. I don't understand why it's like, oh, yes, I get that. If you're rolling to your left, you flip your hips and throw 40 yards across the field. Is that dynamic and crazy? And there's like a plus force multiplier thing you can do? Of course there is. But if you can't consistently make throws, if you can't make the ball go where it's supposed to go, and you're a little bit off here, a little bit off here, receiver has to slow down for the pass, you're killing your team. Drew Brees was the best at doing that. I think Tua is awesome at it, especially when he's upright and healthy. like Tua. I think Jared Goff is great at that. Joe Burrow's great at that. Guys who athleticism wise aren't the highest, so they enhance everywhere else. Again, if you can be that accurate and also you can run around, then yeah, that gives you like some kind of advantage. But I think Teron is accurate here. I don't disagree with what he said, especially in terms of like recency, right? Steve Young hasn't played football, and I'm going to say 25 years. I want to say somewhere in that range. I don't know the last year he played, but I'm going to say somewhere around a 2000, 2001, Steve Young was out of the league. If he went longer, you can let me know in the chat. But most recently, Drew Brees was playing a few years ago. So I like this comparison. Teron believes in him, which we all do. And shout out to Teron for always, he's not going to let this Dolphin die. As soon as he left, I was like, hey, we're probably going to be done with Teron Armstead stories. Nope. That boy keeps coming out 10 toes down for the Dolphins. Teron, we here for you, bro. Other news, training camp is starting up in July. So we talked about with Jonnu Smith, right? There was Drew Rosenhaus said things are going to be decided by training camp. I didn't give you guys a date for it. Sorry. Training camp starts July 26th and it goes until August 21st. August 21st will be actually a joint practice against the Jaguars, and that will be open to the public. So that will be fun for people to see. Of all the training camp dates, there are going to be 10 that the public can actually go to. I'm not going to list the dates here because it's a lot of numbers, but look them up in your own time. This is when we actually get to see the team be the team. These aren't walkthroughs. These aren't guys just high-fiving and seahorsing around. You get to kind of see what the roster really is about, especially as we get closer to that August date, right? Joint practices always get a little bit dicey. You got to think, these teams have been going against themselves for weeks at this point. And you don't want to hurt each other, but also you're just in the same trenches with each other. So there's some hostilities, right? But you can't just go around beating up your teammates. You'll get disciplined. Then when a second team comes in and you can kind of let that energy off, it's like, oh, I've been waiting to hit somebody that's not wearing my jersey. And the joint practices, you can go look at the highlights, especially with DBs. DBs and receivers, like let a DB knock down one pass and hit you with this joint. It's a wrap. Receiver grab the face mask, pull it down. Hey, get off. It gets reckless. Looking forward to that because that will kind of show us a little bit more of what that tenacity is for the team. We've talked about what we can be. Everyone's talking about culture changing. Everyone's talking about we don't want to be soft. We want to get rid of that label. We're all on the same page. This is now going to show us what we're looking like, right? Training camp is where all that comes together. You get to see some people we haven't seen basically since last year who were injured kind of get back on the field, like maybe not to the full capacity, but they kind of work their way into shape. Because after August 21st, the season starts in September. Like we're not that far from the real season. So once training camp is over, a couple more weeks of practice, and then we're back into football mode. So this is really like ramping up. Right now, the OTAs is like, oh, we're just kind of installing packages and all that. Training camp, we're getting to it, especially the ones that are to the public. And you know we're going to nitpick every pass. We all remember the training camp where Tua threw a bomb to Tyreek, and he said, that looked like money to me. One of my favorite Tua moments of all time. That looked like money to me, baby. It's going to be a lot of those, like if someone drops pass or someone looks out of shape, we're going to just nitpick every little thing because it's football. We need football. So July 26th, going down. Look up the actual dates over to the public. It's not every practice. So look up the dates if you want to go and check them out. Pull up. Check it out. I won't be in town. But you will be, some of y'all. So go check it out. We'd love to see you. And finally, let's talk about fantasy football. Now, I will be totally transparent. Last year, I drafted Jalen Waddle in fantasy football as my wide receiver 2. I was super excited. Couldn't wait. I was like, we about to go off. I've always been a Jalen Waddle fan since Alabama. And I've just been waiting to, like, I always miss him every year. It's always like between someone like him and like, I don't know, Michael Pittman type guy. And I'm always just like, and they always get snatched up right before me. I'll be 3 picks away, and those two will go back to back. And I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm picking up, some receiver I don't like. One of Green Bay's many receivers who I don't love. But I've always been a Jalen Waddle receiver fan. I've always believed that he could be wide receiver 1 on a team. Obviously, we have Tyreek here, so he's not wide receiver 1 for us now. What are reasonable fantasy expectations for Jalen Waddle? Good question. Jalen Waddle for his career is about an 1,100-yard, 6 touchdown per year guy. That's like if you just had to distill it down his averages, it's about that. I think both of those are kind of underselling. I believe he will get into the double digit touchdowns this year because I think teams are going to key in on Tyreek. And I think the Dolphins at some point in the year will be making a decision. Are we going to stay on the Tyreek train or are we shifting to the Waddle wagon? That's a wild, that's top of the dome, whatever. I believe that Jalen is more what the team wants to build around. One, he's younger. Two, just off the field, he's a lot more stable. But three, we drafted him. He's ours. When he's a homegrown product, the fans respond a different way. We love Tyreek, but we didn't draft Tyreek, right? He came over as a free agent or as a trade. I believe Jalen Waddle will probably be between 1,000 and 1,200 yards. I don't know. Like, I think the ball will be spread around a little bit more this year, especially now that we have two receivers vying for the wide receiver 3 position. And I'm assuming John is coming back, but we'll see what life could happen. I think Waddle around 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns would be, that's what I'm looking for. 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's what I'm looking for. I think he gets a lot of opportunities, but in the red zone, we did a lot of like bubble screens and a lot of like passes to the flat to Devon Achane, who was scored. And I think some of those routes could flip to Jalen, right? But also, I'm looking forward to seeing some bombs from Jalen Waddle. Like, he's still fast. I don't know why we treat him like he's like this intermediate receiver, but he's legitimately still fast. And he can still get past DBs, especially if he has a DB2 on him. We know Jalen can take the top off of defense, and if everybody's skewing towards Tyreek, Jalen will have opportunities. And now we add Nick Westbrook-Ikine, who's going to be on one side trying to take the top off. I think there's going to be more chances for Waddle to get beat deep. And I think Tua and Waddle, I mean, they went to college together. That's his man's. I do think he wants to get him some love. Jalen already got his contract, so it's not really a money play. I just want to see him live up to the guy that I believe he can be. And I think when he was our actual main receiver, we didn't have the right regime around Tua. So he didn't get to, even though he was great, like Jalen Waddle's rookie year was awesome. And that's with not coach, quarterback not being on the same page and O-line being this and the running game being this, he still balled out. Now that we have a fully offensive regime, the offensive line again should be better. Tua's obviously better now than he was 4 years ago. I think Waddle, no reason outside of injury, to him or to Tua, that he can't have 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's my bar for him. I also have Devon Achane going over 1,200 yards rushing, so 1,200 is my number. I could go crazier than that, but I just think that's a reasonable number to assume. And I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. If I get a chance to draft Jalen Waddle at receiver, even though he burned me last year, I'll do it again. I will do it again. I'll do it on this channel. I'll show y'all. Look at that man. Look at him on my team. If I can get him again, I will. I'm really looking forward to him bouncing back. I think he feels like last year he didn't give his best effort. He didn't seem healthy to me for most of the year, even though he played most of the games. He just didn't seem like quite himself. I know he was like a couple nagging things here and there. And of course, when Tua got hurt, the whole offense just imploded. I'm expecting Tua to be healthy. I'm expecting Waddle to bounce back. 1,200 yards, 10 tutties. That's what I'm going for. And if he doesn't, don't come at me. This is a prediction. I don't work for nobody. I'm just saying. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for likes and subscribes. We just hit 1.5K subscribers. Thank y'all for, it's crazy. Thank y'all for that. We're looking forward to 2K. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.